Wonderful. All right, I want to say welcome to everybody that's going to be kind of starting to move into our virtual space here for our 5 o'clock presentation. So we'll give a little bit of time for folks to kind of hopefully come into our room here. But do just want to share a big welcome to Virtual College Exploration Week. We're excited to have you here. This is for all Wisconsin students, and it is sponsored by the Wisconsin Association for College Admissions Counseling and StriveScan. So we're excited that you're joining us here today to learn more from Alverno College. So before I turn it over to our wonderful presenters, I just want to share a few little details with you. Do know that we are in a webinar form here, so you do not have a camera or microphone, but do know that you can communicate and ask questions by using the Q&A icon that you're going to find on your Zoom screen here today. So again, do feel free to start brainstorming those questions and do ask them of our presenters. You can do so throughout the presentation or at the end as well. Again, also something to know is that you can find a recording of this session at wacac.com. This is a great way to revisit, to check on any information that you want to reconnect with, or even share it forth with some of your friends as well. Also, wacac.com is the place in which you can view any other sessions that you want to sign up for. This is going all through next week as well. So with that, I want to turn it over to our presenters from Alverno.
Hello, we are so excited to be hosting you all to learn a little bit more about Alverno College. So let me get ready to share my screen. Hello everyone, my name is Alexis Carter. I have the honor and pleasure of serving as the Assistant Director of Admissions for High School Recruitment at Alverno College. Before we officially get started, I have to introduce to you all the rest of my high school squad who works with me at Alverno.
Hi everyone, my name is Martha. I'm also on the admissions team for New High School. I actually recognize the name there, so thank you, lady, for attending.
I'm Sophia. I am also on the team for New High School. I work with students from all over the country and with our associate students as well.
And my name is Danny. I am a current Alverno student, so I'm here to answer questions any of you might have about student life, and I'm a resource for you.
Yes, so we welcome you warmly. Please know that we're not those kind of gals when it comes to talking about Alverno. So as we discussed today, if you have thoughts, questions you want to ask, please do drop them in the chat and we will do our best to incorporate them in our conversation. So without further ado, you are currently looking at Alverno College, our beautiful campus located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And we are going to ride into our slideshow presentation so you can learn more about what we do.
All right, so as I'm not sure if many of you know, but we are a small college on the south side of Milwaukee, and what we are going to talk about is just give you like an overview of the school. You'll be able to see things from students, faculty, staff. We have information about internships and things like that. Plenty of information out there, and then while we're going through the presentation, if you have questions, we'll again we'll go through and we'll make sure that we get all of those answered for you.
So then this is a little bit of detail about Alverno College at a glance. We have a 9-to-1 student faculty ratio. So that just means that your time in the classroom, you as a student are going to get some extreme one-on-one. Our small class sizes really just add to our girls being able to connect and get to know one another. In addition, we represent 50% women of color. 72% of our incoming students for our freshman class are first generation students. That means that for the first time, they are a first person in their family to attend college. We also had the beautiful distinction, first college in the state of Wisconsin to become what we call an HSI. That is a Hispanic serving institution, in which those credentials mean that we have a ratio of students that are Latina, and because of that, we get some additional funding to support programming and campus happenings to support those students, all students, excuse me. In addition, we have 30 programs of study, which you'll hear about a little bit later, as well as our assessment-based curriculum and internships. So lots of details, like Martha said, but we will ride into the sunset with these details. Sorry, Danny, this is your slide here, dear.
Oh, my apologies. So there's many reasons to attend a women's college, but for me in particular, there's more to this list, but I'm going to talk a little bit about this. There's greater success after college because you are more confident in yourself. You are more confident when you speak to people who are who have higher education. You feel more confident in your knowledge because it's less competitive in a sense. You're here to learn and you are here to be successful in yourself, not against other people. Okay, and there's a strong alum network, so there's a lot of times where we can connect with people who have graduated from here and get further job exploration and career development. And then we also are motivated to be leaders. I am going into a STEM field, so that's predominantly men. And if I don't have a voice in that field, there's no way I'm going to get further along. I am creating my voice. I'm creating myself as an individual. And I have progressed a lot through Alverno already with being more confident in myself. And I feel like I'm only halfway done with my education. I'll have 4 more semesters to go and I'm going to get stronger every semester.
So if it wasn't clear, obviously we are a women's college, so our undergraduate programs are all female. Our graduate programs are co-ed. If you have questions about why we're a women's college, definitely ask them. We would love to talk more about it. But basically, we wanted to point out that there are a lot of really famous women who have attended women's colleges. Roz Brewer, the COO of Starbucks, went to Spelman College. Also, who went to Spelman College is Alice Walker. If you're familiar with The Color Purple, that is an extremely famous book that was it's also been made into a movie and a musical, and like it's just a big deal. So Alice Walker is a big deal. Elaine Chao, the U.S. Secretary of Transportation, went to Mount Holyoke. Madeleine Albright, the first woman Secretary of State, went to Wellesley College. Also attending Wellesley College was Hillary Clinton, former Secretary of State. A couple of other people, Katharine Hepburn, Nancy Pelosi, Bryn Mawr, and Trinity National. So lots of names that I'm sure that you recognize across a variety of different institutions, or fields, are top of their field women who went to women's colleges, and it's not a coincidence. So there's that.
So Alverno, in addition to being all girl, our mission is really this idea that follows in front of our Franciscan values. So the idea of service at Alverno College isn't just something we talk about, we really are about it. Our philosophies include educating and serving a variety of communities, and improving society by addressing educational needs, as well as offering a hospitable and welcoming community in order to exercise commitment to service. So it is very common at Alverno College to see service take place. When it's not COVID-19 at our college, we host what we call, oh my gosh, why am I forgetting the word? Community Day, in which the whole entire college shuts down. So our professors, our students, our staff, we all are committed to agencies for the day, and Alverno College shuts down for a day of service. So when it comes to that mission, not only will you see yourself in the classroom be challenged, but we're really going to want you, like I said, to roll up your sleeves and see what you can give back to the world. That is what we do.
All right. So among the many things that we pride ourselves in, one of the things that draws people to Alverno is our unique curriculum. And what would I mean by that? Oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Actually, could someone else take this? I have to put myself on mute.
So our curriculum is extremely unique. It's very non-traditional. We do not use any letter grades. It is an abilities-based curriculum with these 8 abilities. This started back in the 70s. Our whole thing was that we really want to prepare students for what life after college is going to be like. And presumably for most of us, that's going into whatever field it is that we're studying. And we kind of based this on what it will be like once you're in this field. And so that's why we got rid of grades, is because really no job you're ever going to have is going to give you grades, but they are going to want you to have a proficient grasp on these 8 things, which is why we put our curriculum together this way. There's lots of feedback involved instead of those grades, and it's very hands-on and show what you know, experiential. That said, I could talk about it until I'm blue in the face, but who better to talk about it than somebody that's living it every single day, our student, Danny.
Yes, so this was one thing that definitely drew me into Alverno as a college, because as Sophia mentioned, you have to know what you are learning and apply it to your future career. And what better than actually use that into the curriculum? So basically, if you use what you learn and you know what you've learned, you're going to be super successful, not only at Alverno College, but also in life. So some of my experiences where we use these 8 abilities in a classroom setting, I took a humanities course my freshman year. We had to use a couple of these abilities. One was developing a global perspective, and another one was, I believe, social interaction. So I had to do a unique project that assessed my knowledge of the class, which was creating a booklet of how I interpreted spirituality and society, which was the humanities course that I took, and applying it to how I would use it in the real world through a book that I got to make. So with the assessments that are here at Alverno, a lot of them include just short answer or long answer, instead of just filling in a box saying the answer to number 1 is A. You have to actually show A, what is A, how can you use A, and how can you apply that to your future career? Because everything that you learn is going to be usable in your future career.
I'm also going to brag about Alverno College a little bit right now. These are some of the distinctions that we've been given by publications, national publications. So the U.S. News and World Report has given us the distinction of a strong commitment to teaching, an exceptional first-year experience, and our ethnic diversity. The U.S. Department of Education has given us that designation of the first Hispanic serving institution in Wisconsin. I do believe it might be one of only 15 in the Midwest. I do think that there was one recently added, but still, to be the first in Wisconsin is something that we're very proud of. When there are several colleges in Wisconsin that have been working really hard for that designation, and they're still not there yet, but it just kind of happened for us because of the way that we operate and what we value at Alverno. So we're very proud of that, but I know Alexis already talked about it. And then the last thing here is the Wall Street Journal Times Higher Ed has now 2 years in a row given us the title of Most Inspiring U.S. College. The first year, it was just us. The second year, we actually tied with Harvard. So basically, Harvard is the Alverno of the East Coast. The cool thing about this designation is that this is actually based on a survey that college students across the country are given, and our students managed to come out so strong for Alverno that we got that designation instead of anybody else. So it's just very exciting, and you know, a couple things we're happy to brag about.
We're pretty much famous at Alverno. So now we're going to transition our attention to areas of study at Alverno. As admissions counselors, we always have discussions all the time about kind of like how to help students navigate that process. So please know, if you do not know what you want to do for college, that's not a problem. At Alverno College, we have our programs separated in schools. The School of Arts and Sciences houses programs such as social work, psychology, and music therapy. Our School of Nursing is just that, as well as some other pre-professional study programs in pharmaceutical sciences. And then our School of Professional Studies includes our business and education programs, which include early childhood, Montessori, and elementary education. So one thing that Alverno has is this idea of undeclared. We have students, most of our students actually do not determine the major that they're going to select. They get the opportunity to come to Alverno, feel, experience, and kind of get to learn about our curriculum, how we teach, and get that experience and ultimately decide a little bit later on what they want to major. So if you're a student where you feel like you want to be a biologist, but you also want to be a dancer, at Alverno College, you can take up some science courses as well as take a class in order to figure out who it is you want to be. In addition to areas of studies, our minors are opportunities for our students to engage in additional credits that could lend themselves to your area of interest. So once again, just talking about that idea, you don't really have to know exactly what it is you want to do, but any of us counselors would be glad to speak with you about what Alverno offers.
All right, so internships. Everyone at Alverno, all the students are required to complete an internship in order for them to graduate. What it basically it aligns with the belief and like the 8 abilities. You know, we're about giving you that life experience, you know, for life after college, and what better way for students to actively participate in internships. So those will start your junior and your senior year. Some majors would require more than one. For nursing, you know, they're called clinicals, and it's not something that students have to worry about, that they have to go out searching for these on their own. You'll definitely get help. To the right, you'll just see few of the places around the Milwaukee area with familiar names of places that our students actually go to intern. And then to the left, we have Kim. Kim actually recently graduated. We no longer get to see her on campus. Will be truly missed. But she basically had her internship it was at the Strategy House at a marketing firm. And she was able to apply, you know, the skills that she was learning in school to that role. And I do believe this internship kept her on in some capacity and to do like work for them when they needed her. So these internships are meant to give you that experience, and you never know, it could turn into the next job that you have after college. All right, so the fun part. So Milwaukee, it's a, you know, if you're from Milwaukee, you may live close to campus where you know, commute, or you can live on campus. It's basically up to you. A lot of people say, who are from the Milwaukee area, that they don't notice a difference because they're so involved on campus. There's so many things to do, whether you live on campus or off campus. And even now, you know, they're doing things safely. We have plenty of like areas around campus where people will gather and hang out. The Inferno Cafe is a nice place that people go to study. You can get coffee. They serve Colectivo coffee there. We do have a workout room. There is a place where you can go if you just needed to talk. We have like a Zen den per se, where you can like relax. And then if you're living in the camp or on campus in the residence hall, there's definitely activities that they host, you know, there. But again, they're all activities that are offered that you can participate whether you live on campus or you don't. But I'm going to stop because I could probably keep on going. I'm going to let Danny kind of give you an overview of a student, because I'm not a student. I have to control myself.
Okay, my apologies if I cut out. My Wi-Fi is a little unstable, so bear with technology right now. Living on campus, I actually am right on campus right now, and I live in Austin Hall, which is one of the residence halls. It's really, really nice here because you have laundry that's free for students, there's free parking, and you can be a freshman with a car on campus. And we have a meal plan, so we can eat at Hudson's, which is our eatery, and you can have breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, everything in between. And we have student activities that gives us opportunities to leave campus and do fun things at reduced or even free cost, such as going
Oh, I think
the cafe because I can get coffee and smoothies. And we
I think Danny, it's just cutting off a little bit. But what I'm thinking where it cut off was you were saying about like the day trips. They take day trips. You don't have to pay to participate. You just kind of pay for your spending money, and then you cut off some good stuff if you are able to just recap again after the trips.
So,
After the trips? Okay.
Yeah, because that's when you started to cut off.
So sorry about that.
It's okay.
So yes, I after talking about the trips, hanging out on campus. There's some great places to hang out on campus and just to study, be with friends, and even with the pandemic going on, to be socially distanced with your friends. The Inferno Cafe is one of my favorite places because we can get collectivo coffee, which also works with meal plans if you live on campus. And it has smoothies, snacks, bagels, bread. It's all good stuff. We also have a workout area on campus, which is free for students to go into. Then we have health and counseling services that love coming to students to see how we're doing. Sometimes life can be stressful with school, so they always want to check up on us and know that they are a resource that is also free for us to go to if we either need to talk to them or see the nurse or just vent a little bit as well. We also have campus ministry who can help with either religious outreach if you are religious and you want to, go to church or something nearby in the area, or also volunteer. And we also have the A store, which is right across actually from our eatery on campus, Hudson's, where we have a great manager who has reduced prices, gotten stuff in a good price range for students, and offers discounts. So you can get that sweatshirt, that mug, without spending a lot of money that you might at usually university stores are pretty pricey when you have like the college logo on it. And I can say I can now get a lot more stuff because it is cut by anything from $20 to $30 usually per item.
thank you, Danny. So then financial aid. I was actually in a webinar today. Hold on one moment. My coworker's talking too, so I just don't want to distort myself. Hold on one moment. All right, I'm back on. But I ended up finding out that over 40% of students actually decide not to go to a college based on the financial aid package that they receive. So the financial aid piece, advice we always give to students is, at least advice I share, is the idea that you should complete the admissions process at a minimum of 3 schools in its entirety. That means you're visiting, you're applying, you're making sure that you get the grade in order to come to the college. And then with that, make sure that you receive a financial aid package in order to break down what is the cost of education. Scholarships are an opportunity in which you can get funding for your education, and we air quote it as free money, meaning that scholarship is awarded to you based on merits, meaning you're a great student, you've done some leadership and service, but that money is often contingent on you continuing to perform that service or to perform at that academic ability or level. But once a scholarship is awarded to you at Alverno College, it stays that amount, and then it has the ability to increase, say, if you take on increase the GPA or things like that. Next are grants, which are awarded to families as well. At Alverno, we have housing grants that assist with letting you, spend time in the dorms. And then student loans are an additional thing. So I'll be honest, guys, usually when it comes to talking about this particular slide, I don't. I have other girls in the office who are great talking about money. So as I trip by, girls, throw in what you need to about financial aid, because I know you know the tea as well. But the student process, Martha has something to say.
Well, please. Because, I feel like this is my slide because I get a little passionate about it. So I just get passionate about it because I feel like you said, a lot of students will look at the sticker price and they won't follow through with all the steps necessary in order for a school to let them know how much it's going to cost. It's very hard for admissions counselors to let you know what it's going to cost you. So you kind of have to just work with us and go through the process. And that's not just for us. It's for any school, any, private school. It's going to have a hefty price tag, but just work with us and let us get you to the point where we can tell you this is what it's going to cost you, because it's going to just be something different for everybody. I kind of always revert back to like when I was, searching for college. I didn't even apply to Alverno, and I lived 5 minutes away from the campus, and I did it because of that sticker price. So I was one of those students, and I see students now, and that they're applying, they're getting in, and it's it's affordable. Of course, there's loans and scholarships and things like that. So I just get passionate because I don't want you to exclude yourself. So just go with the steps, and we'll definitely try and get you that financial aid award letter.
I can say from a student perspective that, college is really expensive no matter where you go. You want to be aware of what the finances are going to be, because you want to commit your time, your energy, and your money into a place that's also going to give you what you need out of it. So when I looked at Alverno, I had my questions of like, this is a private college. Is this going to cost more? What's going to be the financial situation? And they made sure to sit down with me and go through, this is what makes us different from a public university, a community college, or a technical school. This is how we are different. This is where our money goes. This is why we have this price, and this is what you're actually paying. Because when you look up tuition of every school, that price, I learned, is not the price you're actually paying out of pocket. That's why schools give out scholarships, why they give out grants, why you can apply for loans, and why you can work at that university to help pay for your education, as well as like a part-time job. So keep that in mind when you are looking at schools, that the price that you see online, if you just Google search, how much is tuition at this school? That's not how much you're actually paying at any school you're going to.
Thank you for that, Danny. And in addition to closing up financial aid, all these details are very much case by case. So the FAFSA is the best way for really a family to begin the process of aligning themselves with a college and knowing, what is the cost of attendance. So putting those student names on, getting your financial information in is really a great way to start that process. And one of the questions we received in the chat was, what is the average debt for a student? I do know that over 98% of students at Alverno College receive some form of a scholarship in order to fund and finance their education. However, the average aid or student amount owed is something I need to know. Girls, do you know that info? I don't think I do, but it's good that we know it, and it's good that we be able to discuss it. So for the person who asked us the question in the chat, you taught me something that I can maybe bring to other families to share for future. Girls, anything else to add about financial aid?
Okay. I don't think so. I think we've covered everything. I want to reiterate the point that Danny made, though, which was that college can be expensive no matter where you go. I went to a private college, and I had friends who went to public colleges, and actually my sister went to a tech college, and she had a lot more in loans than I did. So it can be expensive no matter where you go. So as long as you're doing what Danny mentioned, sitting down with financial aid and really talking that out, you're going to get the best options for yourself.
I'd also like just to pitch in a little bit. If you are curious about what it might look like, Alverno has like a price calculator, and I think a lot of colleges it's required for colleges to offer like a price calculator to see, like, given your vague information, how much you can receive. So if you are curious, that can give you an idea, but to get very specific numbers, apply because it's for free. That was awesome too. And then talk to financial aid to actually get solid numbers.
Absolutely. So we're going to get into next steps, and Danny already alluded to this. The first next step, if you haven't already, is to apply. Our applications for spring of 21 and fall of 21 are now open. You just go to alverno.edu/apply. It takes about 30 minutes, sometimes less, to apply, depending on how well you know your own personal information. There is no required essay. There are some optional short answers, and sometimes we do request an essay from a student if we feel like we need more information, but the application itself does not have an essay. So it's a quick application. You fill that out, you send it in, you send us your materials, transcripts, and ACT or SAT scores if you have them. And then your application is complete and you'll hear from one of us about the decision made on it.
Sorry guys, I apologize. Like first time being Oz, I'm like the clicker and the pointer and all those things. In addition, visit. So going back to that advice we gave you all about visiting a college campus, I always tell people the special thing about Alverno is our heart. So when you come on campus, even if we aren't the college you decide on, there's something about the vibe that just does its thing. So I always say physically go to the places that you're looking at. Even with COVID-19 happening right now, we have protocols in place in which you are able to schedule a tour. Our request would be that you come with no more than 2 people and wear a mask. So with the safety being our #1 priority, visits are happening right now, and you can go to alverno.edu/virtual visit to actually look at some short clips of spaces at Alverno, but you can come to the campus too and work with any of us gals to see what we do.
All right, and now for social media. We do update our social media. We have a Facebook page. We also have an Instagram page. So if you like to follow us there, because we'll give you updates. Not necessarily everything will, it'll be like a reminder on a scholarship that has a deadline, things like that. So just to stay really connected with us, go follow us. It's Alverno College. And then we also do have an admissions page. So follow us there. I believe it's Alverno Admissions. And then we don't have TikTok. I feel like it's coming. It's just, we're not quite there yet.
Love it. Thank you, Martha. So we actually have some fabulous questions loading in the chat. One I want to answer right now, just because we're talking about it, is the mention about transcripts. So yes, your transcript is required in order to review your information from Alverno College. So say you're a junior, you haven't started your senior classes yet, but you want to see, am I admissible for Alverno College? Because we are test optional, as long as you can get us your current academics transcript with details, we can make a determination about your ability to attend. Being test optional this year just means that a transcript is sufficient in order for us to determine your ability to attend. So that request for that is your most recent up to date. When you're officially a senior, you're in your last courses, will then get an official transcript to reflect your student account. But that mention of the transcript is just to have it in so we kind of know your information. In terms of dates and upcoming events, there are all so many ways to connect with Alverno. Zoom is a whole thing. You guys were patient working with us today as we zoomed our way through. But these are some opportunities to connect on campus with Alverno, including some Saturday dates, some virtual dates, and some in-person dates. As you are going through the college process, I encourage you, pay attention to dates on campus. Coming to things like this, Zooms, it's fun because it really does just give you a vibe of what you can expect. And the more interactions you have with college folks, it's kind of how you can proceed forward. So at this time, our formal presentation is done, and we're gonna actually circle back to some of the chat questions that were presented to us, as well as allow for you all to hop in the chat and add some things too. I'll throw this question to the girls. Ladies, a question that was asked us in the chat was about engagement with professors. What does that look like in the classroom? What does that look like outside of the classroom? And how do the professors work with students? Anybody want to take that?
I think Danny does.
Go ahead, Danny, hook us up.
So when it comes to accessibility for professors, they're super accessible. And that's just one of the beautiful things about being in a smaller school. It's you and that professor in the classroom. And I want to iterate that it is virtual, hybrid, or in person, they are all equally as accessible in any of those forms. All of them are required to have office hours, so they are available for you to contact them at that time. You can also, they're very, very open with email them, find a time, find a place, connect with them. A lot of them give out phone numbers, so they can say, I'm not always by my computer, so text me. And then I'll get to my computer and then we can make a meeting, something of that sort. So I've never had an issue with a professor not wanting to be with me, with talking with me, with having a meeting, because the more you reach out as a student, they see that you are inclined for your success. They want you to be successful. So the only way to be successful is to reach out. They love it when you reach out. If you're quiet in the back of the room, they might try to reach out to you because they still want you to be successful. So when it's professor and student interactions outside of the classroom, in normal circumstances, you could usually meet them at a location, like inside the campus somewhere if you just want to sit at a table and talk with them, or in their office. Right now, they're really encouraging Zoom meetings, so then they can spend that time with you, talk, and not have to worry about being too close, not hearing you through masks, and all these new things that we're encountering in this day and age.
Thank you for that, Danny. Any other questions? Any other questions in the chat? You can feel free to drop them in. This is usually the part of the presentation too, where we'll kind of open the floor based on questions and share, you know, things people ask. So I know one of the mentions was about getting Alverno gear. So I'm actually going to share my screen in order to show you guys this short video on our A store, which is a social space in which you can get a whole bunch of Alverno swag. So if I could get all the ladies just to mute your selves so I can pull up this video for us to watch. And forgive me all as I shared navigating the Zoom, doing the best that I can. Okay, so this is hilarious, guys. Work with me. I will show you a video, I promise. All right, there we go. All right, so we are going to hop into our first video, which is that of our A store. So you can, let me pull this up, and hopefully you can hear. Can you guys hear? Can you give me a thumbs up?
Hi, my name is...
What did I just do?
Kelly Hickman. I'm the A store manager. The A store has all your apparel needs and school supplies. We also have snacks and soda, and we have upbeat music playing every time you come in. Guys,
Does the sound go out for everybody else too?
Did it go out? It might have went out because of myself. I apologize. We had a question in the chat. One of the questions was, what kind of clubs and activities do you have at Alverno?
I got this. So we actually have over 30 different student organizations on campus. Those are run through our student activities office. The cool thing about having a club on campus is that if there's something that you're looking for that we don't have, you actually only need like yourself, like 3 other students to make up the like executive board of the club, and then a faculty or staff member to sign on as an advisor, and then you can start your own club, which is cool. That said, like I said, we do also have a lot of clubs currently existing, and those are a wide range of things. They're professional groups and multicultural organizations and special interest clubs and service organizations, a lot of different things. You know, there's like a dance troupe and an art club and a psych club and a student nurses association. Like there's a lot going on. So a little bit of everything.
Thanks, Sophia. A question was asked about apparel. I'll just throw it in there. Do we have plus size? Honey, I am plus size, and yes, they got clothes for the curves and they got clothes for the not curves. So yes, A store has all the gear. Another question we were asked in the chat, and I just want to make sure I'm answering in order. What qualities and experience are you guys looking for in applicants? Anybody want to take that?
I can take that. So basically, when I look at an application, what I'm looking for, you know, we're looking at your grades, we're looking at your ACT scores, we are test optional right now. So if you're not taking the ACT or just not able to, we are just looking at your grades. When it comes to like the quality of a person and, you know, what things we're looking for, I would say that will come into play when you start applying for some of our extra scholarships that we offer. We definitely have scholarships aside from the merit scholarships that we automatically give depending on those grades and ACT scores. So if you are someone that has been involved in your school as far as like volunteer work or in your community, your church, or, you know, just kind of giving back, that's going to be really helpful in some of the scholarships that we offer. One of the scholarships that we offer is a full ride. Does not include housing, but that's something that they look for that. That's the Eleanor Roosevelt Scholarship. And then if you want more information on that, we do have a scholarship page, and you can see, you know, what they're looking for that scholarship. But overall, students will send us like letters from their high school counselors, things like that, and we'll accept that. We're never going to say, no, we don't need it. So, you know, feel free to send that information in to us. It's never going to hurt. It's only going to help.
Thank you, Martha. Another question in the chat was, when is our next instant decision day? So I'll take that. When it comes to instant decision, because of the new test optional format, seniors, you guys are in a very special place. Colleges are probably more understanding than ever in terms of how to look at you and your information. So because of that, decisions can be made quite rapidly. So while we don't like to kind of say a day or amount of time, with Alverno, if you provide your details and information, we can get a decision out in terms of your ability to attend within a week, provided we have all those details. So instant decision days are something folks kind of used to do before COVID, and we still kind of do it, but not as much, if that helps. We have about 4 minutes left to kind of keep discussing and chatting. If you'd like to drop more questions in the chat, please feel free to. But what I'd like to do is actually just share a video. Someone had asked us in the chat about teaching, and so I thought it would maybe be nice to show just what Alverno campus looks like with that hands-on engagement by looking at our simulation lab for nurses. So let me open this up and share.
Hi, I'm Marisol. I'm currently a nursing student here at Alverno College. We are currently here in the simulation center. Here is where we do hands-on practice in a hospital sort of setting. It is made to look like a real hospital, so all the machines that you see in the back, they work, the monitors work, our simulations actually work, so they can do everything a real human does besides walk. All of our instructors are nurses or nurse practitioners or are currently practicing at hospitals or clinics. So that really comes in handy when they're explaining material to us, just because we get scenarios that they've been through that we can learn from. It gets us ready for our clinicals where we do more hands-on with real patients. So it definitely gives you more confidence when you're going through the skills. This is definitely the main reason why I came to Alverno. If you have any interest in doing nursing, I would highly recommend checking out Alverno's nursing program.
Thank you. So even that video, guys, the hands-on engagement that was spoken about, it is almost an expectation. It's the Alverno way. For us, even being a school in which we don't give traditional grades, we really gauge how engaged you are and how you are learning by how you perform the hands-on functions. So know that not just being a nurse, any degree program you pursue, we're gonna really have you getting into it in terms of getting to know what we expect. We have a question of, do women's support groups exist at Alverno? And anybody want to answer that? We got about 2 minutes left. And then someone also shared in the chat that you can't wait to join the nursing program. Girl, we can't wait to have you either. You better apply because we are making decisions fast. Girls, anybody want to share about women's support groups?
Well, I'd actually like to ask for some clarification what kind of support groups it is that you're looking for. Because what I would say is that kind of in a way, the whole school is a women's support group. Being a women's college and being a place that was created by women for women, there's always support to be had for other young women. Mental health, sure, absolutely. So I don't know like the names of the clubs or anything like that, but I know that we have like our mental health counseling services, and they do have events, is what I would say. I don't know if there's a club, but they do have events in different spaces on campus where women can go to do exactly that, is to just kind of discuss and lean on each other. It looks like Martha maybe has something to add.
I do.
Yeah.
So we have on campus, I'm sure I'm getting her title completely wrong, but her name is Meg Plido. She is in like the nurse's office, and I'm sure that, again, there's probably a better term for it, but that's a place that you can go. I mean, clearly everything right now is going to be a few different steps, but if you ever need to talk to someone, or, you need to go see her, it's like it's on the second floor of Founders Hall. There's like a phone number and contact. You'll just have to text somebody, right now, and then like they'll let you in, things like that. So there's definitely like counseling services, or if you need a place to like cry. I know in the past she said, if you need a place to cry on campus, the worst thing to do is to go into the bathroom, because you're just going to have people asking you, are you okay? Are you okay? And sometimes you just need a good cry without all of that. And so their office is kind of like a safe place. And she's, says students can come in here and cry. There's no questions. So there's that.
I actually also want to add, it's not necessarily specific to mental health, but if you have any interest in campus ministry, we are a Catholic college, but you do not have to be Catholic or Franciscan to join campus ministry and to get involved. It is a much more interfaith experience, and that is another way that you can kind of get that experience of women supporting women and leaning on each other and being able to just talk about what it is that's going on in their lives, and kind of get through that together. So I guess the answer is we don't have clubs, but there are just tons of resources all over campus for that kind of a thing.
And we're grateful. Thank you all for coming to talk to us about Alverno College. You could have been anywhere in the world on a Zoom tonight, and you chose to hang with us. So we definitely appreciate it. Please know that myself, Alexis, Sophia, and Martha are available to discuss with you Alverno, and we hope to see your application and you and your family's face on campus. Thank you.
I want to send out a huge thank you to our wonderful presenters from Alverno College for giving out some great information this evening. Do just want to, again, thank everybody for attending. There will be a quick survey after this window closes out, so would love to hear your feedback on that. Also know that you can sign up for more sessions by visiting wacac.com, and also view a recording of this session if you want to go back and engage with any of the great information that was shared this afternoon, or share it with your friends as well. So do want to thank everybody for your participation this evening, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. Take care.